So guys, we got passage number two, test number three. So we'll try to do a quick walkthrough from this one. So what you have to do when you face true false negative questions, first of all, analyzing the passage would be a great potential for you to understand what actually you're going to read. Something that is descriptive, saying it's a factual text or something like that, or a sort of sort of discursive or like argumentative when it is written. It's like a book review. Someone has read a book and they're just reviewing it with you. So that's yeah. Sometimes you will get such passages, and it's not. There's no actual. No, nobody actually knows when you will face that argumentative or factual. But however, passage one and three, most of the times you will get factual, and occasionally passage two as well. So this is what we got today. So we have question number 14. What you have to do here is actually underline the keywords here, like local gulls and migrating Arctic terns behave in the same way when offered food. They behave in the okay. So they behave in the same way. So experts' definitions of migration tend to vary according to the area of study. Okay, so expert definitions. Very few experts agree that the movement of aphids can be considered migration. So this is this. So like very few experts agree. Aphids' journeys are affected by the changes in the light they perceive. Dingle's aims to distinguish between the migratory behaviors of different species. So you have Dingle's aims. So here, according to Dingle, migratory routes are likely to. All right, and then you have one word only. So one word only is saying the migration of pronghorns. So pronghorns rely on their visual sight. So that's what we want to find. Okay, where is it? I think it's going to be somewhere around here. Okay, so I think let's just first of all try to search it. Where's pronghorn? I find a pronghorn here. So pronghorns rely on their sight. Okay, I have found a vision. So I think I'm gonna do the summer completions first. So pronghorns rely on their sight and something to avoid predators. So these pronghorns are notable for the invariance of their migration route and the severity of its construction at three bottlenecks. Okay, so yeah, summer completion they do not really follow the order. They just take one paragraph and they summarize it. So that's why it's called as summary completion. So that's what I mean, you have to know the format of it sometimes, it is a great potential for you in the future. So however, pronghorns rely on their sight, pronghorn dependent on. So I just want to take a and put a table, I guess. Take a table. I will take the table and say uh words in the questions and say similar words from the passage. That's what we get. So the question they're saying that rely on their eyesight and something. So, but the question, in the passage is saying dependent on, dependent. Okay, so what's wrong with the text? I'm not really sure. Dependent or no matter. Dependent on distance vision and speed to keep safe from predators. To keep safe means to avoid predators. They're saying to keep safe from predators. From predators. That's what they're saying. So okay. So we have the answer we got as speed. Summary completion. It's like a really good thing that you can. I have learned from a very great guy. So it's like logic. You have to understand the logic, collocation, and let's say the grammar. I guess something like that. Collocation is not. Collocation has different. It has strong. It has strong, fixed, and weak collocations. I mean, you have to understand these, and just distinguish between them. However, yeah, speed to avoid one particular population summer habitat is a national park. So national park. Okay, we have national park. We have a national park. We have one population over here. So, particular population summer habitat is a national park, and their winter home is on the something. So on the what? On the we spent summer in the mountain Grand National Park on the western wall, follows a narrow from some ridge in the mountains across the river and down onto the plains. So onto the plains. So on the so like this one on the is playing is onto the, as far as I can read it correctly, onto the, yeah, we have plains. I'm gonna highlight that. However, the route between these two areas contains three something. So they route between these two areas. And then if you remember, we have read so are notable for the invariance of their migration route and the severity of its construction of three bottlenecks. So we have uh bottlenecks. The route the route between these two areas contains notable invariance of the migration severity of its construction at three bottlenecks. If they can't pass through each of the three during the spring migration, they can't reach their boundary of summer grazing. One problem is the construction of new homes in a narrow something of land and the pronghorn route. Um, at one of the bottlenecks, forested hills rise to form a V, leaving a corridor. Okay, we have a leaving a corridor of open ground only about 150 meters wide. So we have one. So it is narrow in the passage. It's saying only about 150 meters wide. So this is a spelling because it's American. It's thinking. I mean, it's correcting because the system of this is American. So yeah. Anyways, we have narrow corridors. We have narrow corridors. There we go. We found that. All right. According to legal migratory routes are likely to. Animal migration. Animal migration, however, it is defined as far more than just the movement of animals. It can loosely be described as travel that takes place at regular intervals. Regular intervals means like regular breaks, often in an annual cycle that may involve many members of a species, and is rewarded only after a long journey. It suggests inherited instinct. The biologist Hugh Dingle, there we go. We just want to take that, has identified five characteristics that apply in varying degrees and combinations to all migrations. Okay, so he is identifying these questions over here, the characteristics, the migration route, and so on. So let's read through. So according to the migrated routes are likely to. So they are prolonged movements that carry animals outside familiar habits. They tend to be linear, not zigzaggy. Linear, not zigzaggy. So what is it here? It intends to be linear. Linear is to migratory routes. They're prolonged movements that carry animals outside familiar habitats. They tend to be linear, not zigzaggy. They involve special behaviors concerning preparation, such as overfeeding and arrival. Okay, to prepare for migrations, animals are likely to. So this overfeeding. Overfeeding is to eat more. So I think that's going to be C. And migratory routes are likely to follow a straight line. Straight line. Whoops. Straight line. So straight line. I'm just going to take that and say um so here is a straight line. Straight line is following as a not a zigzaggy but linear. So that's what they're saying. During migration, animals they're likely to what? They demand special allocations of energy. And one more, migrating animals maintain an intense effectiveness of the greater mission, which keeps them undistracted from by temptations or difficulties. Difficulties are also challenges. So ignore distractions, I guess. During migration, animals are like again they ignore distractions or no? No, be discouraged by this They are discouraged. They're not. They don't ignore. However, still we have Arctic tern illustrates migrating animals too. An Arctic tern on its 20,000 kilometer flight from extreme south of South America to Arctic Circle will take no notice of a nice smelly herring offered from a bird's watcher's boat along the way, while local gulls will dive ferociously for such handouts. The tern flies on. Why? So here, first of all, we already found the first answer. We will write as false because local gulls they don't behave in the same way. However, it's saying while, so it's giving a distinct. It's just differentiating. Local gulls will dive ferociously for such handouts. So it's saying like Arctic terns, they will not be distracted. They will just keep on flying while the local gulls will just they will land down and they just get the food. Expert definitions of migration tend to vary. Okay, however, Arctic terns illustrate migrating animals' ability to ignore um will take no notice of a nice smelly hearing offered from birds watcher. No notice. So the Arctic tern resists distraction because it is driven at that moment by an instinctive sense of something we humans find admirable. So they okay. So I want to remove this one. So let's just first remove that. See, remove C as well. And then we have G, follow a straight line. However, the answer I think is obvious. Uh, ignore distractions. Yeah, they resist distractions. Now, expert definitions of migrations. All right, reaching some gravely coastline in the Arctic upon which other Arctic terns have converged will serve its largest purpose as shaped by evolution, finding a place, a time, and a set of circumstances in which it can successfully hatch and rear offspring. But migration is a complex issue, and biologists define it differently depending in part on what sorts of animal they study. All right, we have another one. We have another one here. Right, sex for definite migration tend to vary according to the area of study. So yes, that's a true. I'm gonna give it a true. Very few express the movements often can be considered migration. So Berger, of the University of Montana, who works on the American pronghorn and other large terrestrial animals, prefers what he calls a simple practical definition suited to his beast: movement from a seasonal home area away to another home area and back again. Generally, the reason for such seasonal back and forth movement is to seek resources that aren't available within a single area year round. So we don't have an information to this. I'm pretty sure. I would say I'm 95% sure that there's the answer is going to be not given since the true false not given questions they follow the order. So you just don't have to really search more. You just find the exact evidence. You just find the exact location, specific line of the answer, and you just read for the evidence. However, doesn't really necessarily consider it as a migration. Very few experts. There's no one is saying about the experts. So athletes' journeys are affected by changes in the light they perceive. Then, daily vertical movements by zooplankton in the ocean, upward by night to seek food, downward by day to escape predators, can also be considered migration. Okay, so aphids. Dingle is an evolutionary biologist who studies insects. His definition is more intricate than Berger's, citing those five features that distinguish migration from other forms of movement. Okay, so we found another one. However, here you can say that Dingle's aim is to distinguish between the migratory behavior. However, he says that his definition is more intricate than Berger's, citing these five features to distinguish migration from other forms of movement. So he doesn't study the migratory behaviors, he studies the migratory routes. So the answer here is false. The aphids journeys are affected by changes in the light they perceive. They allow for the fact that, for example, aphids will become sensitive to blue light from the sky when it's time for takeoff on their big journey, and sensitive to yellow light and so on when it's appropriate to land. Birds will fatten themselves with heavy feeding in advance of a long migrational flight. And the value of his definition, Dingle argues, is that it focuses attention on what the phenomenon of wild beast migration shares with the phenomenon of the aphids, and therefore helps guide researchers towards understanding how evolution has produced them all. So the answer is true as well. So there we go, guys. We have done it pretty quickly. Yeah. So I think it is one of the easiest of so far that we have done. Anyways, if I have done any mistakes here, make sure I'll be glad if you correct me in the comment section below. So yeah, we pretty much done, and I think yeah, we ended the table we have built here wasn't that much big, yeah, not much long. So yeah, once again, thank you very much for guys for watching, and if you have any questions, you can leave, yeah, you can leave it in the comment section, but I'll be glad to come back with a very friendly and fairly answer. Thank you very much one more, guys, and see you on the next one.